Our film begins with a girl named Mel, running for her life from a strange, unseen creature. She's terrified, desperate, but there's no escape. Suddenly, a masked figure appears before her, wielding an axe. She drops to her knees, pleading with him. "I don't want to die again. Please, that's enough." "Yes, you heard that right," she said. She doesn't want to die again. "Remember those words, they'll mean something later." But the masked man shows no mercy. He raises his weapon, and with one swift, brutal strike, it's over. 1 year later, a group of friends sets off on a road trip, hoping to clear their heads and lift their spirits. The group stops at a small market, stepping out of the car to stretch. Clever plays a video, and we see something shocking. It's Mel, standing in that very spot, a year ago, just before she disappeared. Now we learn the truth. Clever is Mel's sister. After their mother died, Mel couldn't handle the grief. She left home and moved to New York. That video, it was the last thing she ever sent Clever. And now, Clever is here, trying to find her. She leaves the group and enters the store alone, where she meets Hill, the shop owner. She knows it's unlikely he remembers Mel, but still, she asks. He gives her a strange look and says, "Oh, she disappeared, huh?" Clever freezes. She never told him Mel was missing. He explains, "This valley, Glory Valley, has a dark reputation. People who pass through here, they vanish. No one knows how. No one knows why." Clever rushes back to her friends with the news. She finally has a lead on her sister. The group is skeptical. Some believe Mel is long gone. But despite their doubts, they agree to follow her. They head toward the valley. Suddenly, a violent storm erupts on the road. Thunder, wind, chaos, panic spreads among the group. But then, just as suddenly as it began, the storm vanishes, and before them, they see the valley, calm, serene, not a single raindrop, no wind. They look behind them. The road is still stormy. They're standing before what Abel calls a water wall phenomenon, a strange meteorological illusion. "Nothing to fear," he says. Beside the road is a house. They enter, all but Clever, who remains outside, transfixed by the shimmering water wall. Max watches her from afar. Inside, the house is abandoned, dusty, silent. Nanny notices an old hourglass. "Take note of it, my friend. Its design may be important." She also finds a visitor log and adds their names to the list. Abel starts filming the house for memories. In one room, he finds a board covered in papers. As he pulls them away, he uncovers a hidden collage, photos of missing people. And among them, is Mel. Meanwhile, Megan is in the bathroom. She turns the faucet, no water. Outside, Clever sees a figure on the road. Her heart races. She's sure it's Mel. Without thinking, she crosses the water wall to reach her. But just in time, Max grabs her from behind, pulling her back into safety. Suddenly, something changes. The world outside feels different, but the group doesn't notice it right away. Why? Because they're too distracted. They've just discovered Mel's name written multiple times in the guest book. Clever, now convinced more than ever, speaks with certainty. "I saw her. I swear, I saw Mel on that road. She's alive. I know it. And her name is here, in this book. I'm going out there. I'm going to find her." As she prepares to leave, Nanny notices something strange. The hourglass, its shape has changed, like someone flipped it upside down. But when she asks if anyone touched it, they all deny it. That's when they hear a sound outside. They rush to the window. Their car is gone, vanished from right in front of the house. They run outside, and see it beyond the water wall, like someone drove it through to the other side. Fear grips them. They retreat back inside. With no phone signal, Max, Clever, and Megan start searching the house for a landline. Downstairs, they explore what appears to be a basement. Max spots something odd. A window. Yes, a window. Underground. "Why would there be a window under the house?" he muttered. "Keep that detail in mind, my friend. It means something." Eventually, they find a landline phone, but there's no dial tone. They try the radio. No signal. Upstairs, Abel hears a noise. He follows it, but doesn't come back. Nanny, worried, goes after him. She enters the room of missing persons, flips on the light, and finds the masked man standing over Abel's lifeless body. She screams. Down in the basement, the others hear her cry. They run, but just before leaving, Max spots the masked man. He's now murdered Nanny too. They panic. Everyone scatters, trying to hide. Megan slips inside a closet. Clever and Max duck behind doors. The masked killer moves downstairs. Max watches silently, then grabs a chair. With quiet determination, he swings it at the killer's back, but nothing happens. The killer doesn't even flinch. Instead, he grabs a broken wooden leg from the chair and drives it into Max's eye. Then he turns toward the closet. Megan, trembling, barely breathes. He reaches inside, grabs her by the hair, and smashes her head into the floor. Again and again, until she's gone. Clever, witnessing the horror, grabs a knife. She plunges it into the masked man's back. But again, he doesn't feel a thing. She flees into the woods, running for her life. And that's when she sees Mel, her sister, standing still. But before she can call out, the masked man appears behind her, drives his axe deep into her back. Suddenly, we see it. The hourglass begins turning. Again, time rewinds. Nanny is back, writing their names in the guest book. Abel is exploring the upstairs room. Megan is in the bathroom. Max pulls Clever away from the storm. Night falls. Again, they all find themselves back where they started. Same place, same moment. Confused, disoriented, alive, though they swear they just died. 1,000 questions swirl in their minds, none with answers. But answers are coming. The front door creaks, opens by itself, then slams shut. They rush to block it with whatever they can find. And Megan, she's not doing well. She feels it. A dark energy. Something is wrong. Terribly wrong. Suddenly, her eyes roll back, completely white. She screams. Then, total blackout. All the electricity in the house goes out. They search frantically, and find her, alone in the room of missing person. But she's changed. She's possessed. Almost not herself anymore. She begins pointing at the pictures, one by one. And for each photo she points to, she eerily speaks the final words that person uttered before their death. Then she turns to them, eyes wide with terror, and whispers, "Don't let him in the house." And with that, she collapses, dead. Suddenly, a knock. At the door, they freeze. Another knock. Then, a voice. It's Mel. She's outside, pleading, "Please, open the door. Please, it's me." They hesitate, then slowly unlock it and swing it open. But there's no one there. Instead, right in front of them now stands a house. A house that wasn't there a second ago. And before they can move, Clever is violently flung backward into the distance, while the others are dragged into the new house, the door slamming shut behind them. On the other side, Clever is pulled inside too, as if something invisible is yanking her through. Inside, it's dark, decayed, and waiting in the shadows is an old woman, hooked to an oxygen tank, watching a news report about the Glore mine disaster. Glore, the same name as this cursed valley. Then, the woman slowly rises and lunges at Clever. Her hands wrap around Clever's neck. "You either survive the night, or become a part of it." Then, she turns to ash. Her body disappears, and something enters Clever, possesses her. Back at the other house, Max tries to get out, but Abel stops him. "She's gone, Max. She's dead." But Max refuses to give up. He pushes past him. Abel, hurt and angry, blurts, "Even if you save her, she'll never love you back." The words sting, but Max keeps going. Nanny, furious at Abel, lashes out, "You're selfish. This isn't who we are." Abel tries to defend himself. He insists, "I'm not selfish. I'm just trying to get us out of here alive. Look, our car's back, right there. We can take it and escape." But Nanny won't leave without the others. Abel insists, "We'll get help and come back. We'll save them." Meanwhile, Max reaches the new house. Inside, he walks into a room. A rocking chair is swaying. Empty. He steps away. But when he returns, there's a doll sitting in it. He throws it aside, only to turn and find Clever. But she's changed, wearing a mask, and without hesitation, she kills him. Outside, Nanny and Abel jump into the car, speeding off, trying to escape. Nanny, still resisting, begs to go back, but Abel forces her to escape. They pass through the water wall, and suddenly, a monstrous creature, like a ghoul, appears in front of them. They panic, swerve, turn back, but it's too late. Nanny tries to open the door, only to realize the car is soaked in blood. She turns to Abel. His lifeless eyes stare forward. He's dead, and standing outside her window is the masked one. Clever, now fully possessed, and ready to finish what was started. She runs out of the house, but just as she thinks she's free, the masked figure slams into her with the car. She crashes to the ground, dead, and then it resets again. They're back at the same moment, right where it all started, but this time, they do things differently. They lock the front door, they lock the room with the missing person's photos, and they all gather in the bathroom, waiting for the sun to rise. Clever tells them what the old woman, the witch, said. Yes, she calls her a witch, because that's what she felt she was. You either survive the night, or become a part of it. So they decide, they'll survive. They'll wait out the night. Abel stands to drink some water. He opens the tap, and clean water flows. Normal. Ordinary. Megan stares, confused. The water hasn't worked this whole time. And then, she starts losing hair. She looks sick, very sick. Abel hands everyone a glass. They all drink, desperate for hope. Then, he starts coughing blood, and suddenly, he explodes. Literally, panic erupts. They scream, realizing the water was poisoned. Megan is next. She bursts. They run out of the bathroom. Megan explodes too, but slowly. Her leg bursts first, then her stomach, then her face. Agonizing. Max watches, helpless. Then he explodes as well. Now, only Clever remains. She collapses on the floor, waiting for her turn, waiting to pop like the rest. But then, someone appears. It's Hill, the man from the supermarket. You almost made it, he says. So close, but too late. Don't think waiting will save you. Doing nothing is just another way of dying. And then, Clever explodes. Time resets. Again. They wake up. Again. But this time, they start searching for answers. Clever finds a business card. It's Hill's. That's him. The man I saw at the supermarket, she says. The group realizes, Hill isn't just a store owner. He's a doctor. Strangely, Clever doesn't remember seeing him the last time. Before she exploded. It's like something is messing with her memory. Among the old documents, they find an old newspaper talking about the collapse of the Glore mine. It happened 20 years ago. The government had dug too deep underground. The land caved in. Buildings sank, buried by earth and rock. 1,100 people died, and then it hits them. That basement Max saw with a window? It wasn't a basement. It was the original first floor, now buried beneath the earth. Meanwhile, Nina discovers a large, hidden door. When she opens it, a long, dark tunnel stretches before her. Terrifying. She slams it shut. Then Max finds an old videotape. He plays it. On the screen, a man, locked in a room. Next to him, a dead body. He looks into the camera, pleading, desperate. Hill, please. Why are you letting these strangers kill me again and again? Who are you? What do you want from me? As days pass in the footage, the man gets weaker. His hair falls out. His teeth rot. He wastes away. Exactly like what happened to Megan. Then Hill appears on the tape. My experiments have revealed something groundbreaking, he says. When a human is pushed to the edge, starved, hopeless, consumed by fear, they become something else. After 11 days, they transform into a creature, a predator, a monster, a Wendigo. The video ends. The group is left frozen in shock, because now, they realize, that's what's happening to them, right now. Suddenly, Hill's voice crackles through the radio. Everyone goes silent. Clever speaks up, desperate. How do we get out of here? She asks. Hill answers coldly. One of you must die. A real death. Clever refuses. She won't sacrifice anyone. But Abel urges her to keep talking. Let's just see what he really wants, he says. So she insists, I want to meet you, face to face. Hill agrees. I'll be waiting, outside, in the forest, but come alone, and she does. She walks out, alone. Back in the house, Nanny explodes at Abel. This is your fault. You pushed her out there. They're sick of him, his decisions, his selfishness. In a rage, Nina buries an axe in Abel's back. Kills him, for real. If Clever's still alive, we take her and leave. We give Hill Abel's body. He wanted someone dead. They rush out. Nina stays behind, alone with Abel's dying breath. But not for long. The masked man returns. He finishes them both. Meanwhile, Max and Megan search the forest. Suddenly, the Wendigo appears. They run. In the chaos, Nina falls into one of the sunken houses. The Wendigo grabs her. She's gone. Elsewhere, Clever is dragged down by something. A metal trap clamped around her ankle. Someone's pulling her hard. Max appears just in time. He pries open the trap and finds Mill, Clever's sister. Max straps the trap onto Mill's leg instead and escapes with Clever. They hide, breathless. But Clever knows the truth. It's over, she says. Everyone's dead. We're next. End it now, Max. Kill me. Kill yourself. Maybe then, we'll reset again. Max hesitates. But finally, with tears in his eyes, he kills her. Alone, he sees drops of water trickling from the ceiling. He drinks a few. Too late, he realizes, it's the cursed water. The Wendigo appears outside, staring. Max taunts it, mocks it. Then, he explodes. The next night begins. Everyone is back again. But now, the atmosphere is different. They're starving, hopeless, broken. Max starts to feel something strange on his back. Signs of the transformation. But no one says a word. They don't want to scare him. Clever asks the group, how long have we been here? Most guess 4 or 5 nights. But Nanny speaks up, shaken. It's been 13 nights. I've written our names down in the journal 13 times, and the others before us. Same thing. No one ever makes it past night 13. This could be their final night. But there's a new mystery. Where is Megan? No one has seen her since the last reset. No one remembers what happened. Why don't they remember anything clearly anymore? Abel checks his phone. Maybe he filmed something. He did. Videos they didn't know existed. In the final video, Hill is seen inspecting their bodies, making sure they were dead, then leaving. And in the background, Megan is filming. I'll follow him, she says in a whisper. Maybe he'll lead me to something. The group is done playing along. They grab weapons. They're getting out. And this time, they'll fight back. Survival of the fittest. They open the back door. A hallway. They begin to walk until they see it. A Wendigo, far down the corridor. They go silent still. Then, a sudden scream. One of them panics, drawing the creature's attention. They all bolt. A horde of Wendigos chase them down. They barely make it back to the house, slamming the door shut behind them. But before they can catch their breath, the masked man crashes through the ceiling. The group shouts at Max, "Run! We'll hold him off." The group finally gets the upper hand. They surround the masked man. Punches rain down, left, right, and center. They beat him down until he collapses to the floor. And with everything they've got, the 3 of them lift his massive hammer and smash his skull, again, and again, until he's no more. They cheer, breathless. Finally, a victory. Meanwhile, Clever comes face to face with her sister, Mill. But Mill is now a Wendigo. Clever doesn't hesitate. She shoves her into a sharp metal spike, impaling her, ending her pain. She pushes forward, deeper into the facility, until she finds a strange room. Papers everywhere, laboratory equipment, monitors. And then, she finds Megan, alive, chained in a room, with her, one of the Wendigos, shackled and snarling. It's the same room they saw earlier in the video. And now it all makes sense. Hill, the madman, waits until day 13. Then he selects his victims. He drags them into this room and locks them in with a Wendigo. He doesn't just want them dead, he wants them broken. The creature feeds off fear, and the more fear it senses, the stronger it grows, until the victim themselves transforms into a Wendigo. Clever tries to open the door to Megan, but it's locked. She searches frantically for a key, and finds a control room filled with monitors and surveillance screens. Then, Hill appears, calm, holding a cup of coffee. "I'm glad it's you," he says. "You're one of my most exceptional patients." He begins to explain. "This place not real, yes. But everything you've seen, it's a reaction, a manifestation of your own fear. The facility works like an engine, and your fear is the fuel." As he rambles, Clever notices something. The leaky pipe above them. Water drips. She casually moves the coffee cup underneath it. A few drops fall in. Then, she places it back, just in time. Hill doesn't suspect a thing. He takes a sip. She watches him, smiles. "Happy anniversary," she whispers. Boom. Hill explodes like a balloon. Clever grabs his keys and rushes to Megan's room, just in time. The Wendigo is seconds from breaking loose. She unlocks the chains, grabs Megan. They run, but they're not alone. Wendigos are everywhere, chasing them down corridors and stairs. The clock is ticking. Dawn is coming. They see the exit, a stairway leading out. Just as they're about to escape, Wendigos grab them, pulling them down. Claws dig into their skin. But then, Max appears, with the others. They pull them up. Just as the first light of dawn breaks, the creatures vanish. The curse lifts. They're alive. All of them, at last. They get into the car, overwhelmed with joy. They drive away, smiling, laughing, free. But then, silence. The screen fades. New footage appears. Security cameras, flickering. Snow. Everything's frozen over. Years must have passed. We see the same facility, buried in ice. Suddenly, a car pulls up. It stops at the entrance. Someone gets out. And just like that, the nightmare might begin again.